Alrighty, Foo here, and welcome to Round 1, Game 1 of the Swarm of Blades versus Op.Gamers. On the top side, we have Swarm of Blades. On the bottom right, we have Op.Gamers.
We see already pings going. We already see pings going down, signaling who's crittering, who's taking which lanes.
From speed is on normal.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
And now things are actually moving on the screen.
Beforehand, Zenith had promised that there would be a lot of delicious cheese in these games, so let's see if he delivers on this one.
Yeah. I always like cheese. Cheese is great.
Seems Swarm of Blades will be coming out with a duo critter, and there will not be any critter on Op.Gamers, so that means there'll be a solo mid DZ against 3 different opponents, so we'll have to see how this turns out. It could turn out with a massive advantage to Swarm of Blades, but it also could turn out into a massive push mid lane, giving Op.Gamers a lot of map control.
It looks like actually Pichu has changed his mind and decided to go critter on Immortal, so
Alright.
We'll see what happens with that.
Interesting. Now the Void Ray also seems to be peeling off to go critter, so I guess that was just a miscommunication there on their part.
Yeah. Well, it seems like Archon would be a good matchup for DZ anyway, so I mean, also he's a great critterer, but
DZ does not do very well against Archon because Archon doesn't really care.
Exactly.
It seems, crittering is going fine on both sides.
Oh, never mind. Pichu went to top lane to duo lane with the Zealot. Maybe they can shut down this Preserver. We'll have to keep an eye on that.
Seems like so far all of the lanes are fairly even on everything. They're just pushing the wave up, getting some farm, and not much is happening. I would put a slight lead to Swarm of Blade just because they had that critter start earlier because there was no miscommunication on their part.
Absolutely. And they have the double critter, which is, of course, going to help them over the course of the game because they're going to be getting more XP and gold. But, meanwhile, bot lane, we see the Dark Archon and the Carrier going at it. That should be a good matchup for Carrier.
He is invading the critters on the right side of the map.
Oh, jeez! He went hard, but he backed off. He realized that he probably couldn't finish that off.
Well, if you'll notice, the Archon is pushing the wave up heavily every time, so he's not really... The wave is going to get there very late, so he's not going to lose hardly any experience for doing that, but he is heavily delaying the Zealot's route and stealing some of his experience as well, so this should help him get a lead.
Yeah, he's already almost hit level 3, but the Archon has hit 3. Very close matchup mid. Very interesting. We'll have to see if anything comes of that.
I think the Dark Zealot has secured himself a slight XP read, but he is going back for the first time. Let's see if we'll start getting some warp prisms out and maybe some roaming across the map. And
absolutely. Instant warp prism. He got a warp prism and a warp out, so he's pretty much set for laning phase. Now all he needs to do is pick his moment to go aggressive, probably at level 7. We can see bot, the Dark Archon, is starting to get a pretty decent army for 5 minutes into the game.
He was pushed out of lane, and he seems to be walking back to base.
Looks like Urin's gonna come in. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, he got away. Oh, man, that was scary for a second.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that much. You might be thinking, oh, the Dark Archon survived with half health, but remember, Dark Archon has 60 HP. All of his health really comes from his shields. He doesn't have much health.
Wait. I guess he's just moving his army back to base to be safe.
Oh, I don't think that's all he's doing. I seem to see some units trapped, and those zealots are getting specifically close to the ramp. Could we be seeing a creep block here?
Could we? Could we? That would be awesome.
All I know is that there is a stalker trapped right now, not much else, but looks like it could be getting set up any second now.
Yep. It looks like we're actually going to see a creep wall off. I mean, I don't know if that if this is the cheese that he was talking about, but I would imagine it's, well, I mean, it's sure something. God, that's terrible.
Not to notice, the critters have stopped crittering at the moment, and everyone's starting to join the fray. And oh, I think my suspicion's right. Look at the Zealot positioning on the ramp. I don't think it'll block all of the units off quite yet, but a few more Zealots sent in will be enough to block that off. See, let me explain to everyone what the creep block does, is if you block the creep from going up the center, that will make it so their creep will push heavily on your turrets, but at the same time, they won't be getting any experience or gold from that lane. So if you can hold off for long enough, you will heavily underlevel their team, and then you can release it all at once for a massive push down a lane.
Yeah, sort of like releasing the Kraken, I guess.
Exactly like releasing the Kraken.
Except for in this case, it's not a Kraken, it's just a huge ball of death. Protoss
like,
death.
If you like ground them up, I'm sure you could make them into a Kraken if you wanted to. Some, paper mache.
Dude, that'd be like a really cool crafts project to do.
The Archon is in some trouble here, but just trade some damage and then back off.
Both sides tanking.
Is actually still crittering at the moment. He is still level 3, so I think either he has made some mistakes or that Dark Zealot invade has really, really put him behind.
Well, I think it hurt him when the Immortal came to his lane and they duo laned for a while. That put both of them really far behind.
Yeah.
The Immortal's doing okay now, but the Zealot really took the brunt of that, falling over a full level behind any of the other solo laners. Oh my goodness, the Dark Archon just destroys Carrier there with full combo plus damage from creep.
And if you'll notice, he not only is he destroying his lane, but he is destroying mid lane in his own way. The creep block, as I called, has now begun, and you can see all the units spazzing out against the wall of Zealots.
They want to get to the enemy base and they want to get there fast, but they're being held back. It's like, hold me back, hold me back. But when that ball of death gets unleashed, that's going to be truly terrifying. We'll see if
they don't want to be rude. I mean, they're jostling around saying "excuse me," but they're not going to be rude and shove the Zealots out of the way.
Yeah, they're like, "Hey man, just like let me through, please. I have stuff to do. Excuse me, pardon me." Whoops, sorry about that. Meanwhile, mid lane, you can start to see Op.Gamers. Yeah, Op.Gamers is blue. We're starting to see Op.Gamers take advantage of the fact that...
The Archon is ganking top with power overwhelming. The Immortal Shield is dropping quickly, but he still has a lot of health, but he will make it back to his turrets. The Archon is not backing off, however, he's continued to dive, but he will finally back off.
And mid lane, Xenon gets a kill off of the opposing Archon. Quite a sequence.
The turrets in mid lane are starting to take a pounding because they are only getting a few Zealots coming from the side lanes because that's where the spawns work. But as of yet, they've managed to hold off, and the Op.Gamers are really starting to fall behind in levels at this point.
Yeah, it's looking pretty grim. They need to be realizing that they had a creep wall off, and they need to be pushing as hard as they can in order to take advantage of the time that they have. And then they need to all be buying. They need to all be buying as much AOE as they can, just in preparation for when all these critters or all these spawns get unleashed towards them. Oh, we can see Xenon going in top against Pichu, and he's taken down. And double kill from Xenon.
And
What
there
a
goes
play!
The Whirlwind is always a huge threat, getting caught by that massive damage over quick time, and if you outrun it or jump away, the thing will still blink right to you every 3 seconds. It can be a major kill threat, especially with citrus oxide, which Xenon has picked up.
Mid lane, we're seeing the Battle of the Archons. It appears that Big Man Gun is a little cautious, and rightfully so, as Xenon comes in on him. But he dropped an obelisk, and he seems to be doing just peachy for now. He's land standing it up, goes in hard. Uh-oh, Preserver comes in, and Xenon's ult.
That's a massive gank on the Archon.
Oh my goodness!
Down, his health is quickly falling, and he will go down.
Yeah, you're like a second behind me. I'll shut up and let you do the play-by-play, but you're like...
I'm sure I'm a second behind, it's just my frame rate, so...
Yeah, I'll let you do play-by-play from now on. But yeah, we're seeing a very interesting situation develop where Red Team is managing to keep very good map control despite not having creep. They're just pushing really hard in all of the lanes to try
Yeah.
to deny as much vision and opportunity to gank to the other team as possible.
Basically, what you're seeing here is in their solo lanes both held their own, but the DA managed to build up a big army, and in the meantime,
Oh no! And the ball of death has come out at the 15-minute
Oh,
mark. I think we need some Ride of the Valkyries or something going on in the background for this.
would you like me to dubstep it out?
No, no, I would not like that. That would be truly terrible.
This is going to be truly devastating for Op.Gamers. I don't think they've got any energy novas. They're heavily under-leveled from the
Oh, and Xenon goes in on Big Man Gun, and Urin comes in, peels him off.
You know, the turrets are there, but I don't think that'll help them.
I
There's
don't.
too
Yeah,
many
there's
creep
way
around.
too many
The
creep.
DA is tanking a lot of turret shots, but he does back off before it finishes him off, and down goes the Archon.
This is looking pretty grim. I don't know if they can hold this. They need energy novas, and they need them now.
I'm not even sure they could do that, because, I mean, this is the Protoss creep wave. They're nothing to just trifle with when it comes to AoEs, and they're so underleveled that, keep in mind, Energy Nova scales with level. That's where it gets most of its damage, and they're so underleveled that I don't think they can deal with this.
Well, the only other option that I can think of would be like backdooring right now.
I'm not even sure about that, because they do have the protective shields up, and even with a coordinated warp prism all in with their
And
ultimate,
Urin gets caught out. Ouch.
this seems to be a steamroll at this point.
Yeah.
It's just too ahead. This massive creep wave is still hanging around, and all of the heroes are grouping mid to push into the base. The defensive cannons are falling pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't really know what else they can do at this point to deal with this creep. I mean, it's still just pushing in. There's nothing that they can do. They need AoEs, but they don't have them. So that looks like an unfortunate game one for OP.Gamers right there.
Well, you can't call it yet.
But, I mean, yeah, you can't call it yet. You're right. And there goes Xenon in on the carrier. Oh my.
Oh, the Dark Zealot just melts everyone.
And now they're going to go for the...
managed to get back to his beacon and live. The Immortal is trying to revive, but there are just too much creep and heroes. Will he live? He runs away on this side. They're not interested in killing him. They're more interested in the buildings. And even with the protective shields, those buildings are taking heavy damage.
Oh my goodness, Xenon with the blink onto the Immortal takes him out.
Oh, says the Void Ray killed him, so that was probably...
Whoa! That's some...
Gamers is desperately trying to funnel in and try to defend this push, but they're just running into a meat grinder at this point, and all that.
Just
I think
so
every
much
member of
damage.
Op.Gamers is dead.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah, I don't like to call it, but I feel like at this point, there's not much you can do to defend.
I mean, having everyone on your team dead.
The Nexus,
Yeah.
the health is quickly falling. Heroes are starting to switch focus to it, though the Creeper's still occupied, so it could live, but there are just too many heroes
Too
focused,
much
and the Nexus
damage.
will fall. That will be game one to Swarm of Blades.
Good game.